My life as a gamer started Christmas 1991 with the NES and Super Mario Bros. 3. My parents helped me hook it up. By 1996, my parents were divorced and I had moved away with my mom and sister. Also, my NES started malfunctioning and I was not playing with it almost at all. Around this time, the summer of 1996, we were visiting one of my mom's friends and her son, about my age, showed me this new game he had, Duke Nukem 3D. I remember being mesmerized by it, that nuclear symbol engraved in my mind. When I came home, I bugged my mom to buy me a computer and I finally got one in January of 1997. This was a good computer at the time too, a Pentium 166, 16MB RAM, 2MB of graphic memory, quad-speed CD drive, oh my! For a short time I had the most advanced computer at my school. The first and only time, for I would not get a newer computer until as late as 2005. As soon as I got it home, I installed the Duke Nukem 3D shareware version that I had gotten from a computer magazine. It began. The thing I loved the most about Duke Nukem 3D right from the start was the levels taking place in the real world. The movie theater, the adult bookstore, and the strip club were a huge step above the corridors of Wolfenstein 3D and even the hellish realms of Doom.
Nobody steals our chicks and lives.
The whole second episode was kind of a miss to me since it's basically one big homage/rip-off to the Alien movies, a movie series that I've never seen. The third episode is excellent. It starts with a sushi restaurant, then a bank, movie set and other great city levels.
Born to be wild.
The fourth episode in the Atomic Edition contains such highlights as Duke Burger, Babeland and Area 51. With the exception of the second episode and the levels Toxic Waste and the Abyss on episode 1, the levels in Duke Nukem 3D are great. 1996 was a long time ago, but they still hold up, and I really miss these kinds of levels.
Down on your knees and bark like a dog.
And it wasn't just the levels, but the level of interactivity. You could take a piss,
Much better.
admire yourself in the mirror,
Damn, I'm looking good.
demolish buildings, set off rockets, and of course, court some strippers.
Shake it, baby.
You could really immerse yourself in this universe and just let loose. The new level of control also really added to the fun. You could jump, crouch, crawl, swim, fly with the jetpack, and so on. The weapons were also great. Realism be damned. Here we have fun weapons like the shrink ray, the freezer, and the all-powerful RPG. The trip bomb is very well suited for multiplayer and otherwise devious tactics. The icing on the cake was that instead of playing as a silent protagonist, Duke Nukem is the king. A badass of the highest magnitude, and his sayings, a lot of them borrowed from 80s and 90s movies, are classic.
It's time to kick ass and chew bubble gum. And I'm all out of gum.
Even the box art of the game is inspired by the movie Army of Darkness. It wasn't all roses though. Shortly after I started playing the second episode, I ran into the big alien homage/rip-off enemy, the eggs and the protozoid Slimer. I immediately developed a phobia for that enemy, particularly the sound it makes. Whenever I hear that, I freak out, jump, and either have to hit ESC or leave the computer, room, whatever. Plus the appearance of it is disgusting, and how it comes up close, covering the screen. I really hate enemies that cover the screen. And no, I'm not man enough to show images of this, just use your imagination and memory. Making it even more embarrassing, they're really easy to kill, but that doesn't help me since I can't stand the sound most of all. But the real kicker is that my sister has no problem with them whatsoever. I actually got her to help me with the game a few times, like clearing out the room before the episode 2 boss, Overlord. She really felt like my big sister then. Well, do I know it's ridiculous? Yes. Can I stop myself from being freaked out? No. And before you go thinking too highly of my sister, I always have to help her past the second level. She never seems to remember how to go through that vent. Staying with my family, my mom once forbid me for playing the game because of the strippers in the second level. She went on and on about how it was demeaning to women and sexist and so on, doing her best Fox News impression. Well, I didn't stop playing the game, and I kept on paying virtual women to dance. Also, if you want to know, no, the game didn't turn me into a chauvinist pig. Another little anecdote I'd like to tell you is that a few years ago my sister realized the significance of Duke Nukem's last name. I laughed in her face, of course, but I got mine a few months after that, when it dawned on me that the title of Duke Nukem Forever had meaning. It's Duke Nukem 2, Duke Nukem 3D, and Duke Nukem Forever. 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess stupidity runs in our family. Duke Nukem 3D was a huge success on the PC, and of course it wasn't going to stay on the PC, it got ported to a lot of other systems, and not just at the time either. The first ports were on Sony PlayStation and Sega Saturn. The PlayStation version was called Total Meltdown. The music is all remixed, but I personally like the originals better. It's pretty much a straight port from the PC when it comes to graphics and gameplay, but control is not as good. You can't free look, only press L1 and L2 to look up and down, kind of like pressing home and end of the keyboard. You can hold square to strafe. Overall, it feels like a solid port. The Sega Saturn version is a little different. It runs on a different engine and you now tilt slightly when you turn, which I like. The levels are also a little modified, probably to accommodate the Saturn's less than stellar 3D abilities. Strafing with the shoulder buttons is nice, and holding down X enables free look. There are some nice new lighting effects, but also slowdown, and overall this feels like the inferior, albeit ambitious port of the bunch. There was also a port on Nintendo 64. Nintendo had established their kiddie image by then, and this port did little to change that, because it's censored. Remember the movie theater? Now instead of a chick there's Independence Day. The censorship does bring its own benefits though. Because of it, the Nintendo 64 version is a little different experience. For instance, they changed the second level, removed the strip club and added a Duke burger. The Nintendo 64 version changed the weapons, mostly for the worse. I mean, the RPG is gone. That was my favorite weapon. The grenade launcher that replaced it is pretty lame. I do like the double submachine guns though. The control is good, but it's tricky sometimes, especially while changing weapons. The graphics are higher in resolution with the expansion pack, and overall this port is good, especially when counting the multiplayer. The last of the first wave of ports was on the Tiger Gamecom. This was black and white, you could only strafe, not look around, and the levels were much fewer. It reminds me of an NES era first-person shooter, and it's not very good. The Duke deserved better. Duke Nukem 3D had a little revival in 2008 and 2009 with ports on the Xbox Live Arcade and the iPhone. I've never played the iPhone port, but I've heard it's hard to control with touchscreen controls. Also, I'd imagine your hands getting in the way of the action. The Xbox 360 port is very good, however, the best since the PC version. It's a straight port, and this time you can free look using the right analog stick. But the best thing about this version is its added feature, that after you die you can rewind and restart at any point in the level. The very last port I want to mention is one for the Sega Mega Drive. It only came out in Brazil, I believe, and very late in the Mega Drive's life cycle, even in Brazilian terms. It's more like Wolfenstein 3D due to the limitations of the Mega Drive. It's pretty bad. One more thing, let's compare the posters on the walls of the first level. In the PC and Saturn versions there's Sister Act 3 and Attack of the Bleached Blonde Biker Bimbos. On the PlayStation there's Piggy Cop Kill Kill and the Duke Brothers. On the Nintendo 64 there's Come Get Some and Apoc Duke. Duke Nukem 3D was an indisputable classic. Even after 15 years and numerous game-changing achievements in the technological field, Duke Nukem 3D remains my 10th favorite game of all time, and definitely my favorite first-person shooter. Check back next week and I'll be going through the rest of the Duke Nukem series, every prequel and spin-off.
So help me, Duke.
My name's Duke Nukem. After a few days of R&R, I'll be ready for more action.
Aw, come back to bed, Duke. I'm ready for some action now.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. Ooh. Oh.